Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lioness podcast show. I'm Joshua Eady, joined with Evan Hengst for season 2 of Lioness. Evan, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Josh. I feel like I'm at my mother-in-law's place, that there's so much distance between us.
There is, but it's close enough. It's close enough. How are you feeling about season 2 of Lioness, everything rolling out? Are you feeling positive about it? What do you think so far?
Dude, I think for a second season we came in hot, eh? I think we really, I wasn't expecting it to roll out because, when we're filming, we don't know how everything's cut and pasted together with all the storylines. But I think, generally speaking, we upped the ante and then we delivered at least. So I think, I'm damn chuffed with it, man.
Yeah. Brian's role into season 2 became, one, very integral towards the rollout throughout the whole season, but two, we see a completely different side of Brian, which I feel was the one thing Sam kept warning everyone about, and now we get to see this different side. So coming in as Evan to play this role, how did you have to change your perspective from season 1 into season 2, showing this darker side of Brian?
I think when we came into season 2, I think the biggest thing that Ilse and I spoke about is that we wanted to humanize Brian, especially with audiences knowing what happened in the first season, that he's quite a dangerous cat. That what happens to him and what happened in the first episode is he violated his probation order against Miranda and went to prison, and I think that changed him invariably for the better or worse. Brian doesn't easily forget very much. So I think he's got his teeth out for Miranda, and not so much. I mean, he has to come to terms with the fact that she's moved on as well. I think that's the hardest thing for him as well. So that, I think, was the biggest challenge for Brian, and how to place him in this new world without her in it.
Yeah.
So that was that was the tricky thing, to find out how does he stand on his own without her.
Yeah.
Brian Sutton, you're under arrest for breaking a restraining order. That prohibits you from being within 100 meters of Miranda.
What's going
Miranda
on?
asked me to come here. Miranda, please tell them.
I didn't.
Yeah.
You had to put so much effort into the relationship between Miranda and Brian, because it's his reasoning, right? It's his purpose for everything.
It's his world, yeah.
That flip again as well, of now not having her and having to portray that and this lost relationship. What do you see Miranda is to Brian?
Well, Miranda is Brian's world, his entire sense of control. And what happened in season 1 is he had this perfect little world, and he kind of ran it and suited it and dressed the part and played the part. And as soon as Samantha saw straight through it, then all the cracks started coming through. And I think his character is very much based off a sense of control and appearance. That's where the suits come from, and kind of the lavishness of him. Without Miranda now, he's kind of a ship without a compass, really. He doesn't really have a direction. He has to find his 2 feet in this new world, basically. And along with Samantha being there as well, having all of that history with her, coming back into this, what is he going to do about it? And, as we know Brian very well, nothing really good comes out of it.
Yeah.
Jason's been there for me, and he makes me feel safe, and I feel anchored by him. I feel like I really have a chance at a normal, happy life here.
And that's all that counts. A mother's happiness.
Money and happiness aren't the same thing, Grant.
Because everything was perfect for him until Sam came out of prison in season 1.
Yeah, he ran the roost, and then she came and she started, being like, I don't think this guy is
fiddling with everything, and now his world's kind of fallen apart in some way. What do you think was the fundamental lesson that Brian would have taken out of this time in prison? Knowing the kind of person that he is, I imagine him plotting and scheming the entire time, trying to find his way out to get what he wants. Because I feel like, tell me if you agree or disagree, his ultimate motive is to get what I want by any means necessary.
Well, that is a very interesting question to pose, of what really happened to him in prison. And I think a lot of people know that prison's not a really lekker place to be in.
I don't really want to hang out
Not
there.
really if you're a guy like Brian. So Yeah, while he was in prison, yeah, no, I think he saw some really messed up stuff, and I think I think there was a lot of his time that was spent, plotting and figuring out, what he was going to do when he gets out, and I mean, just to the extent of what he's going to do and how far he's willing to go, I think that's what we're going to see unfold throughout. So he definitely has a plan. And whether or not that is, in the end going to serve him or, serve his ego and his need for revenge, that's the entire thing.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, stranger.
What are you doing here?
I moved into an office on the 5th floor.
In this building?
Yeah, space was available and I figured it'd be less lonely than a home office. Besides, I already know one person in the building.
yeah, we're still in the very early phases of it, but but Brian's still got some ways to go. He's got some healing that he has to do. I think he read a couple of, those motivational books in prison, like
trying to apply 'em.
how to not want, how to not plot killing your mother-in-law, essentially,
Yes.
101 for dummies.
It's great. It's great.
It's rad.
What would you, if I had to ask you to take a word and describe the relationship between Brian and Sam, what would your one word be?
The one word between Brian and Sam, I think it's primal.
Oh,
Primal.
that's cool. That's cool.
See what I did there? Lioness, primal, cub thing.
See,
The
well
two.
done.
It took me a while, but I got
That's a
there.
good one.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit of that.
It is primal. It's these two forces that meet each other that
Yeah.
are trying to, kind of dominate their own worlds, but that intercede one another. Well, that's what happens when you have an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Exactly. And now the two fight it out, and we don't know what the results will be just of yet. But it turns into one massive shame, contradiction for Miranda
Yeah.
in terms of this person that I've loved so deeply and had there for me when no one else was in Brian. And then my mother, who's the mother figure but never been there.
Yeah.
And now she's got to fight between the two.
Exactly.
Won't be a problem.
I'll give you guys a moment.
No, it's
No.
okay, really.
It's cool.
Okay. I'll come now.
He seems nice.
He is.
Not like your mother. She's just a tiny bit hostile.
What would you like people to take away from Brian this far out of season 2? Put all his plotting and scheming, his adoration and love for Miranda aside as well. Him as a person, there is still massive sense of empathy for Brian and what he's being put through by this family, with everything being perfect and everything being swept from under him. And he's, ultimately at the end of the day, the person who's been framed in the story, Sam, ends up
Doing the exact same thing.
doing the exact
So
same
that's
thing to
kind of-
you.
Yeah.
The irony in that is beautiful.
It is.
What would be the lesson that you'd like people to take away out of Brian as a person?
Yeah, for Brian, it's just how dangerous love can be. I think the depths that some people are willing to go to for love and reaching absolute obsession with someone. I think it's just to kind of be wary about how much you put into a relationship and you put into someone, and the pitfalls thereof of someone letting you down or leaving you or whatever, and how you deal with that trauma and how you deal with the end of a relationship not being the end of someone's world necessarily. I think that's the biggest lesson, is to be able to move on in a healthy way.
Oh, there's a lot of history and drama coming for Brian and Liam, but I don't think we can disclose that just yet.
No.
But ultimately, Liam being in a position of wanting to protect and save the family, and Brian ultimately wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just they provide, if I can use that word very differently.
Yeah.
And now we've got to see how these forces now have to meet as well.
To battle them out.
See. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Lioness Podcast Show. Please continue to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. to watch Season 2 of Lioness. Thank you so much.